Hey guys, this is a video on alcohol and I'm going to Alan Carr you. So Alan Carr is a guy that writes a lot of books. He was the one that did How to Quit Smoking. He does How to Lose Weight, How to Stop Vaping. He has clinics all over the world. They're very successful. And his approach is to make you hate the habit, hate it, despise it, hate the things that are making you miserable. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to Alan Carr you into hopefully making you drink less alcohol or stop it altogether. Everything that I'm going to mention in this video is true. I'm not making anything up. I'm not demonizing it without some truth behind it. So there's a lot of science that can back up everything I'm saying. But honestly, the truth is most people don't realize the gravity of this situation when it comes to alcohol and the effects it has on your body. So I'm going to show you all the things it does. By the end of this, I really hope you feel angry, hateful towards alcohol. Like I want you to want it less. I want you to hate it and feel like it's robbed you of something. And if you feel even, that you're headed in the right direction and you can drink less or want to give it up, then I've done a good job. And it's important. It's important not just for your weight loss. It's important for your general health and well-being. You'll see in the video just all the things that it does. So just to quickly give you an outline, a chronic drinker, alcoholic drinker, is just someone that drinks 2 drinks a week. 2 drinks a week. You're classified as a chronic drinker, okay? So if you're someone that maybe just like drinks once in a while, maybe twice a month, you're okay. But if you're drinking 2 drinks a week, every week, you're classified as a chronic drinker. Keep that in mind for the rest of the video when I refer to a chronic drinker. If you are drinking 7 drinks a week, so it might be all 7 in one go, it might be 2 the one day and 3 the other day, it doesn't really matter, you're considered a heavy drinker, okay? So for the purpose of this video, when I talk about a heavy drinker, 7 drinks or more a week. Now, when it comes to you trying to lose weight, and when we say lose weight, we really mean lose fat. No one really wants to lose their muscle, so we're talking about fat loss. It is almost impossible to do so if you are a chronic drinker or a heavy drinker, okay? It's okay and it's easy if you're just drinking once in a while, but if you're drinking every week, it becomes almost impossible to lose weight, and I'll show you why. The obvious reason that everyone knows about is the calories, right? They're called empty calories. The reason why it's empty is because 1 gram of fat is the same amount of calories as 1 gram of alcohol, right? But when you're eating fat, things like avocados, you're going to get nutrients, you're going to get fiber, you're going to feel full. It's going to give you things. When you drink alcohol, it's just empty calories. It's not going to give you anything. So it really just is adding to your daily calories, right? And it can be so severe that I think it's 2 to 3 beers is going to equate to a meal, all right? So the equivalent of like a 500 calorie meal. 1 cocktail that's loaded with sugar is going to be the same as 1 meal, about 500 to 600 calories. So in terms of just calories alone, you can see how that'll add up very quickly. You're trying to be in a deficit within a week. You have 1 binging night and you're in a surplus of calories. You're just going to discredit the entire week's work of trying to be in a deficit, okay? So that's the obvious reason. Now that that's out the way, it gets more exciting. This is the liver. Now, I had to do this as a diagram to try and make you picture this. Picture your liver in your body is the organ that detoxes and metabolizes everything in your body, okay? Now, the minute you've got alcohol in your body knows it's a poison. It thinks about it like it's actually poisoning you. So your body will go out of its way to make sure it is the very first thing that you get rid of. So if you have food that needs to get metabolized and broken down by your liver, it will have to wait. Alcohol will always go to the front of the queue to get metabolized by your liver, okay? And be broken down first. Now, the knock-on effect of that is, if alcohol is always in your system, all the food that usually gets metabolized through your liver to broken up to be used as energy is now going to be stored, and it's going to be stored in your body as fat. So whereas if you didn't have alcohol in your body, you'll metabolize your fats and carbs and you'll use that as energy. Now, if you've got alcohol in your body, you're going to store all the food as fat and use it much later or not at all. And it just gets stored. And this process of storing can last up to 36 hours. So if you've got alcohol in your body, you stop fat burning for up to 36 hours. So if you're looking down and your belly is flabby and you just like, why the hell is this fat not burning off? But you're drinking alcohol, just know that is why. That is one of the biggest reasons why. So if you're trying to burn that belly and you want to get rid of that fat, it's virtually impossible to do it if there's alcohol constantly in your system. Okay, keep that in mind. That's a big one. Another reason why it's working against your goals, they did this study on rats. They fed rats ethanol, made them drunk every day, kind of thing. It increased their hunger by 3-fold. So rats got really fat because they ate more. Because it affects the part of the brain that increases your hunger, they just were hungrier. And you've probably seen this happen with you too. If you've had a binge session or you're drunk, you're pretty much eating whatever you want, right? That is another reason why it's going to be a problem. You've all seen those scenes in the movie where someone hurts themselves and then they rip open some alcohol and they pour it on the wound. The reason why they're doing that is because if there is going to be any bacteria on the skin, you're trying to kill it, you're trying to disinfect it. That's what alcohol does. It's a brilliant disinfectant. We use it in surgery. We actually use bottles of ethanol in surgery to clean wounds and areas. Okay, that sounds great, but where else do you have living organisms, living bacteria in your gut? So just know that every time you're drinking alcohol, it has the ability to completely wipe out massive quantities of your gut flora. They're actually equating this to the entire reason why you have a hangover. It's not a brain problem, it's a gut microbe problem. It's because you're killing off so much of your gut flora that is the experience of a hangover. Okay, that's quite recently discovered. The problem with this, with killing off so much of your gut flora, 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So if you're getting sick all the time, or you're getting flu, or you're getting styes, or you're getting, all these things that are signs that your immune system is failing, it could be because you're wiping out your gut flora. Other than that, all your happy hormones start in your gut. 90% of your serotonin, your dopamine, all comes from your gut. And that is why there is such a thing called anxiety. When you feel really anxious the day after drinking alcohol, it's because you've fucked with a lot of your neurochemicals that are meant to be in your gut. That is why you get anxious the next day. What it also does in terms of your actual gut, it inflames your gut lining, it causes gastritis, it causes a thing called leaky gut, which means that you get like food and bacteria in your bloodstream from your gut. You get food intolerances. So if you keep drinking alcohol, you can have a whole lot of gut issues your way. Another thing it does is it's called mitochondria death. Mitochondria are the little things in your body that are the energy producers. It's how you have energy. When they have found that people have died from alcohol intoxication, so they've actually died from alcohol poisoning, the reason why they die is because alcohol has killed off enough mitochondria that you just don't have enough energy to live. Okay? So that's another thing. It actually just makes you tired. It kills off your energy component in your body. And then this is probably one that most of you don't even know about. It's quite fascinating, actually. When you are working out in the gym, firstly, if you're hungover, you're 10 to 11% less likely to perform. It'll decrease your performance by that much, okay? But another thing is, when you're working out in the gym and you're trying to build muscle, the whole way of building muscle is tearing your muscle. So you're working out and lifting weights so that you're wanting your muscles to tear, and in the process of muscles tearing, they rebuild and they rebuild a bit bigger. And that is muscle protein synthesis. That is how you grow and get bigger muscles. It's a big, important process in muscle growing, right? Now, the thing with alcohol is it stops the process of muscle protein synthesis. It slows it down by 24 to 36%. This is really important. If you have just done a major workout, you've lifted some weights, and you're feeling really proud of yourself, and that same day you go and drink some alcohol, you're going to stop the whole process that you were hoping for of building muscle by up to 36%. It's massive. And then as well as lactic acid, after you've worked out, you've got lactic acid building up in your body and makes you feel sore. If you're drinking alcohol, you'll get rid of lactic acid less, which means you feel sore for longer. Another thing to keep in mind. Okay, in terms of your hormones, alcohol drastically reduces your growth hormone. So another reason why you'll find it hard to work out in the gym. It lowers your testosterone levels. It significantly raises your estrogen. And this is important for both men and women. Higher estrogen levels in your body is like a magnet for storing fat. You don't want to have too much estrogen in your body, especially if it's building up in the wrong areas. That actually causes fat storage. So even a person that is a chronic drinker, so you're just drinking 2 drinks a week, you are going to release 20% more cortisol than a non-drinker. Cortisol breaks down muscle and causes fat storage. So these markers are just all against you right now in terms of weight. In terms of how you're going to look, you're trying to work out at the gym. Guys, unfortunately, if you're drinking alcohol all the time, it's actually making you more like a woman. You're decreasing your testosterone, you're decreasing your growth hormone, and you're increasing your estrogen. You get man boobs, you get the big belly. It's not the look you're looking for. And for women, you're going to find it impossible to look toned. You're always going to feel flabby if you've got that alcohol in your system and you're a chronic drinker. In terms of your brain, alcohol, when it breaks down in the liver, it forms 2 components, acetaldehyde and acetic acid. And those 2 compounds make their way to your brain. Okay? When they get to your brain, they start to damage the front of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. Short term, that actually is fun. That's how you relax more, you're not so anxious. Things are like more easygoing. Cool. Long term, it actually changes the circuitry in your brain. Long term, it actually increases the chances of you making impulsive decisions, bad decisions, and dulls your cognitive function, which means over time you get less smart. And when you move into older age, it actually causes cognitive decline. So you're more prone to mental health issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, and that kind of thing. A horrible one, but also I have to go here. Alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen. It's right up there with tobacco smoking and asbestos. So it's a major cause of concern if you're a chronic drinker or a heavy drinker. It'll increase breast cancer by up to 15-20%, and it'll increase colon cancer from up to 20 to 30%. It's massive. Those alone are big problems, and you've got to think about that. There's a thing called the drinking plateau. So what happens is you drink a bit of alcohol, it does that dulling of the prefrontal cortex. It makes it feel fun. You feel a bit more extroverted. You don't feel so anxious. Great. You go up the plateau, you're feeling awesome. The problem with this plateau is that when you get to the top, so let's say you've now drunk enough for the night, you can't actually drink anymore. All those feelings of confidence and fun go away with the plateau. So you reach that plateau and it doesn't get any better. And this is what happens with alcoholics, is that you start to chase that feeling, and it takes more and more and more alcohol to get that feeling back. Just like any drug, really. So you're constantly chasing it, and that's the problem with it. So for a drug that is always known to connect people, I mean, it's true, I'm not going to lie. There's group gatherings, get-togethers, you want to fit in, I get it. I was there as well. It's known to connect people, that's awesome. But in doing so, it makes you, it's the substance that makes you the most disconnected from your own body that you will ever be. Nothing else has the ability to affect so many different aspects of your life. And that's the big message here with alcohol, is that just for a few hours of fun, it's just going to give you so much of pain later on. So if you're a heavy drinker, so you're drinking 7 drinks a week, the good news is your body is freaking amazing. It's always trying to heal. You can get back to normal in terms of your organs, in terms of your mind, in terms of your liver. All comes back to normal between 6 to 12 months later. You can actually push the reset button and get back to normal, which is incredible. It takes time, but it's absolutely worth it. It really is. So the idea is, after watching this, if you are a little bit like, oh, I didn't know it was that bad, is try as much as possible wherever you are right now. If you're a heavy drinker, try not drink some days. Just try and have a day where you're not drinking. Or if you're drinking on the weekends, both Friday and Saturday, maybe just choose one day. Just find out what it takes for you to have less. So start with trying to have weekdays free, then try and have maybe one day of the weekend free, then try and have one weekend alcohol free, and then try and aim to maybe have an alcohol free month. And just try and progress as much as possible. And you know what the beauty with this is? I watched a podcast the other day. It was the author of the book, The Simple Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Very cool book, very cool author. And I have the same experience as he did. What happens when you start doing this is, because you're drinking less, then you look forward to that occasion when you are going to drink, right? Like, oh, I haven't drank in 3 weeks. I'm going to have a drink. Awesome. It doesn't quite hit you like you expected. You think it's going to be awesome. And then you actually just realize how shit it makes you feel because you've had such a break from it, because you're now not used to feeling shit for so long. And, the order of the day is not feeling shit. When you do drink, you're actually like underwhelmed because it makes you feel shit for 2 to 3 days. Your sleep is fucked. Your mood is terrible. Your gut feels off. And you actually just realize how much you don't need it, to be honest. So this was the author's experience. He said the same thing, which I resonate with. When you stop having alcohol, in the beginning, your mood is down and you don't feel great. Physically, you don't feel great. It takes you 3 to 5 days to start feeling normal. In that time period, you feel very off and you don't feel great. And that is why a lot of people just give up trying to get off alcohol. But if you get past the 3 to 5 days, you start to feel much better. You'll wake up with way more energy and you'll start to sleep better. And it's absolutely worth it. So these are some things, helpful things you can do to try and not drink, is just constantly remember why you're doing this. If you're trying to lose weight, put that as an obvious somewhere. Stick it up, put it on your phone. Just have the why all the time in your head. Why are you doing this? So that you can pat yourself on the back and feel really fucking fantastic when you stick to it and you don't have it. Within the first 2 weeks from when you're ready, make a date with yourself. Like, this is when I'm really going to cut down. A lot of you that have joined my program, you almost decide immediately that you're cutting down, even before I've given this whole speech, which I think is amazing. But just make a commitment to yourself to just cut down, make a date, and stick to it. Your commitment is going to be the key to your success. Tell people, don't try and just hide this. It's not going to be easy, especially if you've got like a rowdy group of friends or family that think it's weird now that you're not drinking. Just a simple, hey guys, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm on a program that, says I should maybe cut down, and let them support you. You'll be surprised how much people want to support you on this journey. And hopefully, if anything, you rub off on them. So instead of, people when they drink always want to drag people down with them because they don't want to do it alone. You could be the person that picks people up and let's just all do this together and feel better together. Avoid temptation where you can. Don't bring it home. Don't have it in the house at the very least. And then, in the beginning, you might feel weird being at all the social events and you might just not go to a few. I've been doing this for a long time that I'm at the point where I can go clubbing until like 5 o'clock in the morning, sober, stone sober, and I still feel great and I enjoy it. It just takes some time to get there. And try something new. So, like, have a bank of ideas that when you normally would be drinking, and this is the thing, what else can you do? Maybe it's a sport, maybe it's some new hobby, just something else that you can do instead of drinking if drinking is a part of your culture and your life. If you're someone that is drinking like every day, I wouldn't advise that you just cold turkey stop because alcohol withdrawal is serious. Your body is used to it. It's adapted to it. You pull it away, you are going to have the trembles. You're going to sweat. You're going to have headaches. You're going to have nausea, vomiting, a racing heart. So if you are drinking quite a lot and you want to get off, slowly, slowly. That's how we do it. And that just goes to show just how dangerous it is. But it is worth it, absolutely worth it. And I highly recommend you do it. I've had an alcoholic dad my whole life. He stopped drinking, I think he was close to 60, and it was the best thing he ever did. And like I was telling you, that your body can heal, 100%. I always thought my dad was going to die from being an alcoholic, 100%. And he completely changed his life around. All his organs have healed. I know he sits with a regret, wondering if he would be, aging much better, going into 80 years old better, but it's too late for that. But it's incredible how you can heal, and it is absolutely worth it. And in terms of it, as someone that grew up with an alcoholic dad, if you're a parent and your kids watch you drink, and your kids see you, they're not stupid. They can see when you're drinking, and it's not nice. It's really not nice. It scares you. It makes you feel uneasy. When you see your parents looking miserable drinking, it feels a little bit like your world is falling apart. So please just keep that in mind. I'm not trying to scare everyone, but this is a massive part of your journey, is changing your relationship with alcohol.